Load that chip. You make too much noise. You woke me up this morning.
Well, they'd like no one unloading their ships.
Exactly.
It's about short-term profits for the powers that be.
I've got mine. I've got my piece,
Right.
the piece of the beach. I've got my piece of the bay. I don't want you making your noise over here. Leave me alone.
There's always been government corruption. There's always been government collusion and cronyism with the wealthy and the powerful. But it's not until recently that they've learned to call it economic development and funnel it through those types of processes. That's a new thing. That's the new name for an old face.
Yeah, well, it's
just modern
you know,
corruption.
we're look. I take my hat off to them.
Well, they've managed to sucker people.
In most cases, they have very slick web pages.
Sure.
In most cases,
paid for by us.
In most cases, they avoid answering hard questions.
Right.
I mean, here's a perfect example. Cindy Anderson, the executive director of Team Santa Rosa, will only pop into a county commission meeting for 2 minutes, and as soon as she's finished with what she's saying, she hits the door so nobody can ask her a question. They've effectively blocked folks like you and I and a lot of other people from seeing their books, although in the case of Team Santa Rosa, it's open records and open meetings now. But they, like I said, my hat's off to them. They've done a very good job.
Sure.
My problem is, why do you feel it necessary to take my tax dollars and hide them from me? That's my thing.
Because they want to spend them on themselves. That's why.
Well, and tell the folks about the stimulus money that just flowed into the county.
Well, apparently a couple 100,000 have gone to the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce, and we're still looking into that. We don't know what it's going to be used for. But this is Obama's stimulus plan. Right. This is the stuff that it's going. I mean, tell me how many jobs the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce has created in the last, let's say, 5 years.
I know they have. There's one good job they created at about $225,000 a year. And that's the director, and then the next
of the
one
Chamber of Commerce.
Chambers,
yeah.
And then the next good-paying job is the $189,000 job that the number 2 person had.
Right.
And then there's a whole slew of other people, and they run around. But ladies and gentlemen, pay close attention to that. Stimulus dollars from the federal government, which is money you paid in. You remember that organization, the IRS, that sends you a bill every year? Well, they've taken some of that money and they've converted it into economic development dollars in Escambia County. And
economic development.
We're certainly going to dig into that one a little bit.
And let's just also again point out, at least at this point in time, the collusion and the corruption still hinges on elected officials' actions, and people need to keep that in mind. And they need to pay attention, and they need to get out and vote during local elections, even if it's not a presidential vote. That actually affects your life a lot more, the local elections, than distant electing the president. And we saw most recently in Pensacola with this charter change, where they've now instituted a boss mayor in Pensacola.
Right.
That 37% turned out for that.
Yeah, and look, and I want to say this on every show and through the elections next year. Get off your couch, turn off the Nintendo. It's important, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to hear that you didn't have time or a drop of rain hit my head. Our entire freedoms, our country is going down the tubes, and it's up to you. You know, a guy that...
It's disintegrating from the bottom up. Not disintegrating from the top down.
We the people have to take action
right.
here. You know, a guy the other day was talking to me, and he said, I just think we're to a point that it's absolutely going to take a rebellion to pull this thing back. I said, well, yes. Hadn't you been invited to it? November the 4th, 2010. The rebellion, ladies and gentlemen, that I speak of is your right to vote. And you need, take a day off from work, Forget about what needs to be done at the House. This upcoming year's election is the most important thing that you are ever going to see in your lifetime. And if you don't get up, and if you don't throw these bums out of office, if you don't get rid of these folks who want to tell you to your face that they love you and are trying to help you, and then go to Washington, D.C. and screw you into the ground, it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for us to take this country back.
Well, and I'll just add to that, people need to get up and run for office too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do have, it is your business. So many people, when I talk to them, well, I can't run for office. I'm not qualified. It's none of my business. I mean, that's the attitude that you get. And then you see the options that are available, on election day. And it's, that's why this corruption and this collusion and this cronyism. That's why that's how it gets perpetuated.
Well, when you return 97% of the U.S. House of Representatives back to office, what do you expect, ladies and gentlemen? And look, here's one thing that I hear a lot. Well, my congressman's okay, but everybody else's congressman is horrible. No, let me look into the camera, ladies and gentlemen. They're all horrible. They are not looking out for your best interest. They are abusing you. They are spending your money. They take pay raises at midnight every year. They hide from you. They won't return your phone calls. They will not have public forums. They run like a bunch of chickens. And I'm talking about local guys right here. Local people. They are not accountable to you. You do not have decent representation. And all of them need to go. All 435 of them and 33 senators. And let me assure you that if you take part in this and you clean house like needs to be cleaned house, reach up there and pull that arm and flush that toilet bowl, it will make a difference. And let me tell you, the new people that show up, and I don't care if they're Republicans, I don't care if they're Democrats, I don't care if they're independents, I don't care if they're Green Party members or XYZ Party members. Let me assure you that if you pull the handle and flush the toilet bowl, the new people that show up are going to listen to you. And that's what democracy's about. Okay, I feel better, Deborah.
I'm glad.
Okay, so let's talk about impact fees, Deborah.
Now, these are fees that a developer or a builder would pay before they start constructing a new house or a new building.
Right. The quick history of this is
they're supposed to pay for the growth that they bring.
The history is other places have put in impact fees, and if you build X houses, you've added more traffic to the road, therefore you should pay for that infrastructure up front. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't like how it was set up to start out with, of delaying and allowing folks to spread it out over a 30-year mortgage. Or 7 years,
right.
That's right. Spread it out over 7 years. To me, the whole purpose is when somebody comes in and they're going to add 100 houses, and this is state of Florida. This is Department of Transportation numbers here. A single family home makes 10 trips a day. So if you add 100 houses,
right,
10 trips a day,
right,
there's 1,000 cars on the road that has to get in and out of that place.
Right, and that's potholes.
And if you're gonna have impact fees, the impact fee needs to be upfront so that our government can stay ahead of this. So the road can be widened, so the turn lane can be put in, so all the infrastructure's there before we start having these extra 1,000 trips a day. We wanted to bring you a story, and not to tell you about specifically what went on in Okaloosa County, but it is eerily similar to an argument that we've had in Santa Rosa County for the last few years.
Regarding the courthouse.